Another stream today, unsurprisingly. It was, as the title says, little tiny tweaks to Cerato's, it looks like his alt-turn animation. Pretty sure that's what it is. So it was a good several hours. I caught this one pretty early on, but I had to cut most of it because most of it wasn't, it was just read the same thing again and again. As I've said before, I try not to include too much of it, and there's only so much that can be done, and at least we got some surprise guests this time, which will be where they were in the stream this time around instead of bunched near the front, because it's easier in the end. I don't feel like it. Anyway, let's get going, get this over with, get that bread, all that fun stuff. So the alt-turn animation, tiny tweakage, it's, as it says, very, very small adjustments. A lot of it's having to do with weight shifting and minor alterations to, say, where the head's tilted, where the arms end up, where the tail's going, all that fun stuff. I think he started with adjusting the feet, and then it slowly shifted to more towards the head and the body and all that fun stuff. There was one point, which I think should be around, soon-ish, I think. Anyway, the model completely borked out, which was kind of amusing. I was skimming through the stream and suddenly Cerato became a sauropod. Ceratopod. Something like that. You guys get it. It looked like its tail kind of dipped funky too. I don't know if he was playing around and he put something else over Cerato, because again the tail also kind of dipped funky, so maybe he put some other things, rig or animation or whatever else in there for a hot moment just for giggles. I don't know, I wasn't there, I wasn't paying attention to chat because I don't record chat, because why would I record chat? But it was mildly amusing, so I kept it in. It was something a little bit different from the rest of the stuff going on, so I figured you guys might get a giggle out of seeing it. After that I think was mesh-related stuff, but that was very, very brief. I don't know if he was trying to figure out what happened to the stretchiness, so maybe it was an accident rather than a joke. Or if he was fixing something else unrelated to that. No idea. Beyond that was more adjusting, you know, where the weight is, where the head's tilted, you know, the stuff I mentioned earlier. It's a lot of the same thing. I think there was a good amount with the hands, because Cerato's itty bitty little hands kept flying off in places they weren't supposed to, or bending in weird directions, so he was having to fix those quite a bit, actually. So honestly, I think a lot of what I ended up cutting was just adjustments to where the hands were going while he was doing his animation. I think that was honestly a lot of what this one ended up being. Things not moving where they should have. I think near the end it was. He's lining up the tail with the inner little cubes within, because the tail wasn't going where it was supposed to. Lots and lots of the hands not going where they were supposed to, as I said. Little tweaks to where the feet were moving, how they bended, all that fun stuff. You know, again, all the usual bits. Not a whole lot to say beyond that, frankly, even though there's still a lot more to go, but let's just, for now, talk about, you know, thoughts on the animation itself, I suppose, since, frankly, the adjustments during this whole thing, it's the polishing phase, it's tweaking, again, as it says, it's itty-bitty things that, while it does make it look nicer, it's not, like, you know, vastly changing the animation. Like, I'll go back to the swimming animation he did quite a while ago. That one you could see definite, like, massive changes throughout the whole thing. This one, you can definitely see them, but it's not, like, vastly different or anything like that. As for the alt attack, and I actually said it right this time, I noticed I said turn the previous 2 times, even though I had attack in my mind and I said turn instead. The wonders of brain-to-mouth communication. Ugh. Anyway, what I think of this turn attack animation. It's pretty nice. I like it. Honestly, it makes him look really cool. I like Cerato a lot. You guys know that. I would say he's within my top 5 dinos. Maybe he's my second favorite. I don't know. He was somewhere before I started this channel, and then afterwards I started to like him a lot more because I kept seeing him on my icon and in the art and stuff, and I was like, huh, you know what? He's really cool. I like him even more now, so he's higher up. Rex will probably always be the favorite because nostalgia and all that fun stuff, but man, Cerato's really cool too. Anyway, let's get back on track, I guess. It's a nice animation. I like it. It looks cool. The way he moves his head, sort of like a downward, upward movement. I really like how that looks. I'm curious to see what it'll look like in game when you're, you know, actually attacking stuff and whatnot. But here, for now, I really like it. It looks nice. It moves how one would expect it to move, or at least it does in my mind. And I enjoy the way he moves his feet, and the way his tail flops around, and I just like it. I just think it's neat. There's not anything incredibly strange that sticks out to me. I mean, maybe one of the hands kind of sticks out a little funky and seems a little bit loose, but at the same time it could also be he's, you know, swinging it around and sort of quote-unquote swiping, something like that. It just seems a little funky, at least for now. Don't know if it'll stay that way or not, who knows, but that's, I think, about the only thing that I notice. I'm sure other people notice other things, but for me that's about it. I mean, that's all that strikes me as mildly strange. I enjoy how he moves overall, and I like it. It's good. I like seeing an animation that looks, I guess you could say natural, I suppose. I mean, it doesn't look incredibly odd in any form, at least not to me. Again, other people will have other thoughts, but to me, it seems fine. It seems as intended, TM. It doesn't look super duper weird or anything like that. But anyway, let's go to a little something different. A little something unexpected. A little something called Spinosaurus. I was definitely surprised to see this one. I mean, yeah, Pachyrhino was also a surprise because I forgot it existed. But Spinosaurus? I haven't heard that little dude in how long now? He was last seen dead in a posed taxidermy state in one of Kissen's little pose testing thingy-majiggies. And he looked really cool in it. I really liked it. But that's the only thing we've seen in you. Oh wait, no. I think his concept art came after that. I lied. Okay, never mind. It was probably the concept art the last time we saw him. But that one was I need to get that friggin' concept art video done, I swear, but we're not gonna talk about that. Let's just move back. Spinosaurus, he showed up, some neat little animations. I imagine the first one that plays is like some sort of call. I don't... maybe it's his 3? Like, it looks like it could be a threaten. It's a little bit difficult to say. I mean, it looks a little bit basic, at least to me. Like, that could even be a friendly, because it looks very, it looks calm. It doesn't look like a threaten to me. One could argue it's a broadcast as well. It seems a little bit calm for one of those, so I almost want to lean into saying it's his friendly. Because it just looks... I don't know how else to say it, it just looks calm. Like, he does move his arms up and his head goes down, and you could see it as a threatening gesture, but he's not moving too much, and it could just be, you know, early stages. But it just seems very mellow, very calm, very gentle movement. So I want to almost say it's his friendly, but it's probably going to turn out to be his threaten, or even the broadcast. Who knows? But that's what it made me think of. Well, I suppose 4 could be an option too, but he seems a little bit too... he doesn't seem, I guess you could say scared. Granted, some of them don't seem scared in their 4, but that's just the impression I got. Anyway, after that was his walking animation, and we've seen that before. It's been a while, but we've seen it. And then I think after that was his crouch, if I remember right. Yeah, it was his crouch. Overall, I like it. I like the Spinosaurus in general. The design they chose for it, I really, really enjoy. I know there's people who don't, but I don't care. It looks cool. I like the crocodile-like head that it has, the crocodile-like tail that it has. The sail looks a lot better than it did in Legacy. It looks, you know, not gigantic and weird, and it looked a little bit too round, I guess you could say. I mean, it looked too circular. And that's not just because, you know, Spinosaurus skeletons have that little concave sort of dip in their spine, sail, whatever. It's more, it just looked too perfectly round. I don't know how else to say it. It just looked too round. That was it. I didn't like it. That and, you know, the Legacy Spinosaurus' animations were all funky anyway, but I like this one's design a lot better. It just looks cooler. It looks neat. I like the swole arms that he's got. I really love the crocodile-like head. It looks really, really nice. And again, the tail. I like the tail as well. Got them croc vibes going on, and I enjoy it quite a bit. But that's enough of Spino. Spino isn't even one of my top favorites, I'd say. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say it's like, you know, up there or anything. But I do enjoy this version of Spino quite a bit. It's very, very nice looking. And I like what they did with the throat quite a bit as well. It just looks nice. I think it's neat. Alright, let's get moving on before we talk about Spino the entire time instead of Cerato, even though it's this Cerato video. But as I said with the galley, there's only so much I can really say. We return to see Cerato's stuff is slowly improving once again. What was he working on? Was it... I think it was the weight and minor adjustments to the head again. Something like that. And of course the arms, because the arms are always just funky. They keep going in places they shouldn't be going. But that's about it on that. That's all I can say on that. Like with Galley, again, it's the same thing again and again. There's not a whole lot to say, and it's not just because I was like, oh yeah, he's just there. He's kind of lame, not gonna lie. It's the same here too. There's not a whole lot to say. Even though I love Cerato, and this animation is really cool, this is the tweaking final stages, polish stage thingy of the animation, so there's no vast changes like there were with the swimming one. It's just, you know, it's changes, and they're good, and that's about it. Anyway, on to the next surprise guest, which was Oviraptor this time around. He showed, I think it's the run this time. It doesn't quite look calm enough for a trot, so I think it's probably a run? I don't know. Anyway, he showed it with the the model and all that fun stuff, and then he showed a version where it's just the inner workings, the bonesies, the spooky skeleton of the Oviraptor. It's pretty neat to see. It was interesting. I cut it a little bit because it ran for a very, very long time, and as it was, this section was already decently long. And I wanted to include more with the, you know, the model in its complete form rather than just the skeleton for a minute or so. So, yeah, he's looking nice. As I've said before, Oviraptor isn't necessarily my thing. I just don't really care for it. However, the design they chose for it and the colors they chose for it, I really, really do like those. So seeing it in action is, even though it's not one of my top favorites, it's still neat to see. I enjoy seeing him every now and again. And I never quite noticed the little dewlap-looking wibble-wobble under his chin, so that looks pretty neat. I think it took until the, seeing the skeletal thingy to actually notice it was there. I just never really looked. I think I'm normally looking at his chest and his tail because it's so wavy. But, yeah. And, of course, the colors. I really like the colors, but gee whiz, blue and black, guys. Who would have known I would like that combination of colors? Wowzers. After that was more tweakage for a very long time, and then we get the quote-unquote final version of the animation. Don't know if this is its finished final form or not, but it is what it was at the end. He played it for quite some time, and then the stream ended. So I won't play it nearly as long, but I'll give you guys a good, you know, repeat view of it, since, again, it played for a really long time, and I'm not gonna do that. But it is nice to see it in its currently final form. Whether there'll be more tweakage or not, I don't know. But again, you guys can see what I mean about the arms here. The one on the outside, the way it lifts and the way it tilts is a little bit strange here. And then the one on the inside, it looks a little funky as well, but that's nitpicking. I don't really care too much. It's there, it's fine, it's whatever. I like how the tail moves, and here it might be changed again, but a part of me kind of likes the way it slams against the ground. I don't know if it's going to do that in the final one or not, but it very vaguely, like, almost not at all, but it reminds me of, in Monster Hunter Stories 2, Nargacuga's tail will slam against the ground sometimes during his idle animation. It fits Nargacuga because, of course, you know, he uses his tail to fight and all that fun stuff, but it was just a really cool animation I always liked. It doesn't go with Cerato, like, at all, but in the movement here, I kind of like seeing it. It looks kind of neat. But yeah, I mean, again, there's not much reason for it to do that, and it's probably gonna be changed, but for the time being, I enjoy seeing it. The way it moves around and stuff, I enjoy it. It is cool. His feet seem to move, you know, as intended, the head, all that fun stuff. I really like the dip he does, and then how he bites down and then goes upwards. I enjoy it. I like it. This is good animation. It is enjoyable, pleasing to the eyeballs. It is fun to watch. That's about it. That's all I can say on it. Overall, stream thoughts. It was fine. It was alright. It was a little bit more than alright in some ways because we did get to see Spino again. And for quite a while, too, I played that section in full, without speeding it up. I think it was a little over a minute of seeing Spino after not seeing him in eons, so that was nice to see. Oviraptor showed up again, which, he's there. It's always been the same animation with Oviraptor, so it's just his run again, but I suppose it was kind of nice to see the inner workings, biddles of the animation and how it looks. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. As far as the Cerato stuff goes, though, it was, like I said, it was a lot of the same stuff again and again. I had to cut a lot from this one. So even though I think I got it, like, 17 minutes after the stream started, because I woke up and I saw it and I'm like, oh, I got to this one early this time. Unfortunately, it didn't really matter because I had to cut, like, a ton of it anyway. But, hey, it's still something. I got the Spino, I got the Oviraptor, and I got the before and after, more or less. There's not too big a difference between the two, I suppose, and in some ways I kind of like the before version of the arms rather than the after because they seem to wave a little bit too much now, but hey, that's just me. I'm just being picky about the little arms. I like them moving, don't get me wrong, but it does seem a little bit too much, at least right now. Or it's because of the way they move, like how they flail outward and then go down. I liked how there was an earlier version where I commented how I enjoyed them looking as if he was trying to use them to help pin stuff down. And it could be just because he's turning in this one. I don't remember if that was a regular attack and this one, you know, is the turn. I can't remember. But I liked the somewhat calmer version of the hands moving, but it's still nice. It's fine. Overall, I like it. And Cerato's looking pretty good. I know recently they were talking about, well, it was in the dev blog and then Kissin talked about it a little bit more, his bacteria, it's the septic bite thing. I found it kind of neat. I was kind of hoping it would do a little bit more, but I mean, the puking I guess is still alright. It depends on how well it'll work, I suppose. Like, how many times are you gonna have to bite before someone actually pukes? Will they puke varying amounts of, you know, pukage if you bite more or less? Will it matter where you bite? That sort of stuff. It'd be nice if there were some sort of infection mechanic or something, or maybe it could cause some difficulties healing bleed, like you bleed out a little bit more because, you know, the wound isn't healing as well. Something like that. Something funky. But, I mean, the vomiting isn't bad or anything. It might stop people from, you know, messing with him quite as much, but I kind of doubt it. Probably won't. But I hope he's at least a little bit useful this time around. I missed the, I heard Legends and Legacy. There was a time, brief moment, where Cerato was incredibly overtuned, like he was super OP, and that's not what I'm asking for, of course, but it makes me think back on that, laugh, and then see where he ended up later on, where he ended up like being one of the worst things ever in Legacy. I remember later on, when I was looking at dinos and what to play and what each one was in Legacy, I would look for, you know, people's overviews of each creature. Less so to see, you know, stats and whatnot, and more to just understand what each one was like and what it did. Because back then I thought it was a little bit more advanced than what it actually was. Like, I thought sitting still or moving less often actually conserved food, but it didn't matter at all. But anyway, I would see Cerato constantly at, you know, the bottom of the lists because he just, the abysmal bleed heal and all this other stuff, and I was like, wow, poor thing. I like Cerato, he's really cool. I played him anyway every now and again, but it was a shame. I did like his speed though, so that was pretty nice. I liked to explore around with him a little bit, get to look around, perish because I was stupid. The greatest hits. There was, oh, that reminds me, there was one time, I remember I was traveling with, it was either another Cerato or it was a baby Rex. I almost want to say it might have been a baby Rex. But a Suko had shown up, and I wanted to protect the baby, and so I went and started to fight the Suko. I didn't understand how things work, but you guys know, there was no chance. There was none at all. But I wanted to protect the baby, and so I did my best, and I did what I could. It didn't work out, of course, because duh. But, amusingly, after killing me, the Suko just walked off. He left the Rex alone. And I remember on the death screen, I could see the Rex come over to the body and just do a little friendly call. It was so sad. But yeah, that was something. Memories, you know. Anyway, I should stop. That was probably the most entertainment I've had this whole video, gosh. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, night, whatever time this is posted. And goodbye!
Thank you.